it's a lot easier to write a scathing account, I feel anyway, of someone's life rather than taking the high road and looking for sort of, as I call, the diamonds in the rough. Let's take this man's life. He was a country boy, from Ohio. He was catapulted to the top, the pinnacle of the adult film industry, but he really was a human being at heart, even though he did some heinous things.
Although
as a result of his drug
there's people
addiction.
listening who would disagree with you,
Right.
and not even just because he's an unsavory character with his drug use and prostitution
Right.
and all that, but just
Right.
even being at the forefront of the burgeoning pornography industry.
Yeah, that's true.
What would you say to that?
What I say is that I don't know. It's kind of a judgment thing. Like I said, it might not be something that we would choose to do ourselves. But what I've realized about the adult film industry and actually the hardcore film industry, which really started in around '69, people really it was an extension of the '60s revolution. It truly was. People who chose to do those films as performers, they weren't not being paid very much money. And what they did is they looked at it as a form of rebellion. They loved the fact that they would, they would sneak around doing this, and they really welcomed the challenge of trying to do this and not get caught and put these scenes on film. It was really an innocent time. People would think that's, maybe a laughable statement to make, but it was really an innocent time.
Jian Ghomeshi was at the forefront of creating a culture of porn star as celebrity in the 70s that
Right.
continues to today. How did he garner
Excuse me.
How did he garner so much mainstream cultural fame? Was it the size? Is that,
Well, I think that's really happened within the last 10 years after Boogie Nights and Wonderland. I think at the time that he was alive, he didn't really garner a lot of mainstream fame. I mean, people knew who he was like I did, but Ron Jeremy, for example, who is a porn star well known today, he really has crossed over into mainstream with some projects he's done. John never really did cross over into mainstream, but mainstream people know about him because of the fact that, as I said, these films have been done about his life. And an excellent documentary that was directed by Cass Paley, The Life and Times of John C. Holmes, which was paired with the Wonderland film when I rented it. That really also brought him into public light.
I've got less than a minute left with you here. You launched the book earlier this year at Book Soup, a store in L.A. on what would have been John Holmes' 64th birthday.
Right.
Tell me about that experience.
It was the who's who of the golden age were there. It would be sort of equivalent to Brad Pitt and Matt Damon and all of those people of mainstream Hollywood. John's his friends, directors. His widow Lori, who has been very supportive of our project, and she hasn't always been in the past. She was there. Bob Chin, the Johnny Wad director, was there. Cass Paley, who had directed the documentary on John, and a renowned adult film historian, Bill Margold. They were all there. We had about 75 people. I would say it was just a wonderful event. People were so supportive, and I think they really liked the idea that Jennifer and I did not have any connection to this industry or John's story prior to taking this on, which did enable us to be more unbiased.
Jill Nelson, pleasure to meet you. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Jill Nelson is the co-author of John Holmes, A Life Measured in Inches. It's published by Bear Manor Media. It is available now. She joined us live in Studio Q.